So here's your startup for week number 5. Sorry, question number 1 says for f of x equals 5x plus 1, find f of negative 4. That is functional notation. So what that is telling us to do, anytime that there is an x in the equation, we are simply going to replace it with negative 4. We're substituting. That's all functional notation is. So I'm going to have 5 times negative 4 plus 1, which gives me negative 19. So the way that this would need to be written is f of negative 4 equals negative 19. Number 2 says graph the equation negative 3x minus y equals 6. Now if you're ever given an equation, always put it in the form or find the values that you want to use. If you want to put it in slope-intercept form by solving for y in mx plus b, do so. If you want to take this, which resembles standard form, and use your properties that slope equals negative a over b, and your y-intercept is c over b, then do so. Whichever way works for you, that's the way you need to work. Me personally, I don't want to put it in slope-intercept form. It is in what resembles to be standard. And the reason why I say it resembles standard is because in standard form, a cannot be negative. But in this case, it is. But we still go through our properties. If slope equals negative a over b, I'm going to take the opposite of whatever the value of a is, and I'm going to put it over b. Notice those will cancel, so my slope equals negative 3. My y-intercept is c over b, which gives me negative 6. So that means at negative 6, what is it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. At negative 6, it's where it crosses the y-axis. I'm going to have a slope of negative 3. So that means I'm going to go down 3 and over 1. Or I can go up 3 and back 1. I only have to have 2 points. I chose to do the 3, and then we are essentially just drawing a line through those points. And that is the graph of negative 3x minus y equals 6. Now also, since that's in standard form, there's another way. We could have solved by intercepts. And remember, intercepts is when we're solving for x and y. We plug 0 in for the opposite, or what we've talked about being the cover-up method. So if I covered up y, so I covered up y and I solved for x, notice x equals negative 2. So I'd put a point at x equals negative 2. And using the other cover-up method, I'm going to cover up x and I'm going to solve for y. Y equals negative 6. Notice both of those points are on our line right now. And that is the way another way that we can graph that equation. Question number 3. And let's look at 4 at the same time. Number 3, it says write in standard form an equational line passing through the given point with the given slope. So we have a slope and we have a point, or we have a point and we have a slope. So first of all, we're going to start off in point-slope form, which is y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. Where y1 and x1, those are my points, or values of my points, ordered pair. And then I have a slope, which would be m. So I'm going to say y minus a negative 2 equals negative 8 times x minus a negative 2. Notice minus a negative gives us positive. Now it tells us in our directions to solve for standard form. So in order to solve for standard form, I need to get x and y on the same side. X and y need to, or standard form is ax plus by is equal to c. So I've got to get that equation in that form. I'm going to distribute. If, remember, there was a fraction other than with a number other than 1 as the denominator, I would use trouble here. But since it's a whole number, I can just distribute. So I have y plus 2 is equal to negative 8x minus 16. I'm going to move the 2 over by subtracting it. Y equals negative 8x minus 18. And then I'm going to move the negative 8 over. So I have 8x plus y equals negative 18. And that is in standard form because I have all integers. 8, or a in this case, is positive, and 8 and the coefficients of x and y are both not 0. Number 4, it says find the slope of the line. 2 ways we can do this. 1, since that's in standard form, slope equals a negative a over b. Shortcut. So that means a negative of a in this case is 3, and b is 5. So I'm done. My slope equals negative 5, or negative 3/5. If we don't remember that shortcut, we can always take this equation and put it in slope-intercept. So that means solve for y. So 3x plus 5y equals negative 15. If I move the 3x over, I have 5y equals a negative, positive 5. Nope, I'm right. I'm messing up. Negative 3x minus 15. Divide everything through by 5. So y equals a negative 3/5 x minus 3. The coefficient of x would be our slope in this case. Notice that we get the same solution either way. So whichever way works best for you. Number 5. And hopefully number 6 together. Whoops. Number 5, it says to find an equational line through negative 4, 6, and parallel to y equals negative 3x plus 4. We are given a point. We're asked to write an equation line through that point that is parallel. Remember, parallel lines have the same slope. So this slope here equals negative 3. So my parallel slope is the same of negative 3. I have a slope, or I have a point and a slope. So I'm going to use point slope. Y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. My point is negative 4, 6. So I'm going to say y minus 6 equals 3 times x minus a negative 4. Now it doesn't tell me what equation or what form to write it in. So technically we're done. Y minus 6 equals a negative 3x plus 4. Now a lot of times whatever form they give you the original equation in, that's what they want to put it in. So they gave it to us as a slope-intercept, so let's put this equation in slope-intercept. So it means I got to distribute. Y minus 6 equals negative 3x minus 12. And if I add 6, y equals negative 3x minus 6. So that is in slope-intercept form. And notice the difference between this equation and our original. The only thing that should be different is our y-intercept, because parallel lines have the same slope and different y-intercepts. Number 6 says determine whether y varies directly with x. If so, find the constant of variation k and write the equation of the direct variation. So, now, how do we determine if y varies directly with x? We need to understand that it has to be in the form of y equals kx. Has to be in that form in order for y to vary directly with x. Or, if the same thing is happening each time. What are we doing here? From 6 to 11, we're going plus 5. From 11 to 6, we're going plus 5. And from 16 to 21, we're going plus 5. I think I said 6, but that's 16. Then what are we doing? We are going 7.2 to 13.2, which is 6. 6. So that means that as x increases by 5, y is increasing by 6 every time. As x increases by 5, y is increasing by 6. So my value that we would be looking for, we need to try to determine if it is a direct variation. So let's just say, let's look at it this way. My next number here, if I'm staying constant here, would be 26. Correct? So we need to make sure that our constant of variation would yield the correct number of 31.2. X is 26. So since we have the 6 over 5, if I multiplied 6 over 5 times 26, and I got 6 over 5 times 26, and the reason why we did times 26 is that was the next number plus 5. So 26 times 6 divided by 5, we get 31.2. So then, do we have a constant or a direct variation? So our constant of variation would be 6 over 5.